Charlie Mato-Toyela with Blue Bear Flutes, and as I always say at the beginning of our videos, as well as bluebearflutes.com. So many people ask me, do you sell flutes? No, we make a lot of flutes. Anyway, I just wanted to share with you that little joke because I do get that question on occasion here on YouTube. Do you guys make flutes? How do I contact you? What do I do? We have a lot of that information available in the description, and I usually try to put a plug in at the beginning and the end of the videos. And also put one in for our Instagram, which we make absolutely no money on. But if you want to see some cool stuff with Native American flutes and see places we've been, what we've played, new videos that are coming out, and everything about that kind of stuff, make sure, number one, you like and subscribe our videos if you like them. If you don't, you should still subscribe though, because you'll probably find something that you'll really love down the road. And don't forget to hit the bell icon, because at the time that you subscribe, sometimes YouTube may not tell you, hey, this guy here's put out a new video. If you hit the bell icon, they'll tell you. So make sure you do that. Today's video is very simple. It is something that I have been, for lack of a better word, preaching for a long time. It's actually how I convince people that they can do just about anything. And that having been said, that's probably not why I'm going to title it, you know, how to play the Native American flute, but really it is something that anybody can do, and because of this, it really opens people's minds and tells them that they can do literally anything. So in front of me, I have a couple of drink bottles of indiscriminate sizes and a Native American flute. I'm going to show you how these two things are very similar to one another. Anybody who has ever blown in a drink bottle knows as you blow across the top of the bottle, it makes a sound. It is so easy to do. The technique that it takes for your mouth to make the little embouchure or pucker face here to make it play across this is more technical than you'll ever need to learn how to play this instrument. It is that easy. This is one concept you should really know. The larger the bottle, the lower the note. Therefore, small Native American flutes make high tones, large Native American flutes make low tones. That's simple math. I mean, it's really easy stuff. So I'm going to move these couple of guys out of the way and show you the one thing I've been telling people for the longest time about how to teach others. I have another video on this, but I only talk about it. I don't actually give you the demonstration. But how to teach others to play the Native American flute. And if this is your first time seeing a video on the Native American flute, or if you've been doing this and it hasn't been making the sounds you wanted, then this will be the video for you. So this technique is one that I use to open people's mind, and it's a very simple technique. Please, if you learn and master this technique of teaching people how to do things this way, use it for the power of good. That's all I ask of you. If you use it for the power of evil, I will find you. I don't know what I'll do with you when I find you. We'll probably find some way to use it for evil together. Just kidding, just kidding. I'm not that person. So I have a bottle of, once again, indiscriminate label and nature. That's how people do this kind of thing. I don't really care myself, so if you want to see what it was originally in this bottle, okay, they're bottles I found, so here we are. It has this much of an airspace in it, and it's usually right there that I stop and ask people, if a bottle is filled to the halfway point, is it half empty or is it half full? This is very critical in using this technique, because this is the part where you open someone's mind and tell them something that they have never thought of before, or at least 99% of the people that I have met and I've done this with, they've never thought of this. So if you filled it to this point, is the bottle half empty or half full? Typically, most people say that it's half full, because most of us believe we are an optimist. There are a few people out there that are facetious, that are silly, that try to be negative and dress in all black. I've been there. But they may say themselves a pessimist, and they may say that it's half empty because they're concerned about how much they have lost. But the truth is, most animals in general, people included, and don't ask me where I got the specs on animals doing this, but anyway, most people think themselves to be an optimist, and therefore they are thankful and happy or proud, if they deem necessary, that their bottle is half full. Telling somebody that my bottle is half full suggests that I'm living on the brighter side of life. On the bright side of life. Anyway, so if you believe that the glass is half full, does that make you right? This is something that you can use in your daily life. If you believe that the glass is half empty, does that make you right? Most people look at everything through rose-colored glasses, and I am one of those people, and that is not a bad thing. However, I am also capable, in most cases, unless I've been incredibly misled, which it is so easy to do in this day and age to mislead people, but in most cases, I can still see the truth. And the truth is, no matter how much liquid is in this glass, it is always full. It may not be full of liquid. It may be partially full of air. If the glass has nothing inside of it, is this empty? No, this glass is not empty. As long as we're standing, or in my case, sitting on this planet, this glass is always full of something. And right now, in case you didn't know, it's not only full of air, the air is actually overflowing out of it because the amount of pressure pushing down on us actually has put more air in this glass than it would normally contain if we were somewhere else that still had air but didn't have the amount of pressure that we have, which is by gravity and by the atmosphere. And you could look it up if you wanted to get there. This isn't a class on science specifically, I guess. But anyway, so this glass has something in it right now, and why not be thankful for that too, is my point. But the point of the matter is, most people just don't see this glass as having something in it because air is clear and we can see through it. So people overlook the obvious, that this glass right here actually is completely full. And so is this one, and so are the others that I was using a moment ago. All the glasses are full. And at that point, and forgive me, Buddhists and Taoists, that I might use this as a reference, but on the Buddhist philosophy of things, the glass is always full, and that's okay. So you can learn to be thankful for everything that you have, and be thankful that now you know a secret to life, that there is truth, and the truth isn't that the glass is partially full. So use that any which way you can, any which way you need to. With Native American flutes, it is incredibly important that you follow me from this point on. If you notice, there's an airspace about this big. It's not much difference between that airspace in size and the airspace between these two, the fingering here and the sound hole. The sound hole of a Native American flute is where the sound comes out of. It actually splits right here on the edge of the flute, and when the air splits, it causes a vibration. The vibration, travels down through the flute, out of the flute, and all over the place in the flute. And for that reason, when I blow, the sound, because of the air escaping, the air pressure that we're talking about, remember the air pressure? The air pressure is escaping out of this fingering. It produces that particular tone, just like this bottle produces kind of a high tone because it has that much airspace in it. This much airspace, that kind of tone. Check it out. We're going to pour a little bit of liquid out. Now it has a much larger airspace, and it produces a lower tone. I'm going to pour a little bit more out. Check it out. The glass, to many of you, is still half full right now, but to me, it's half full up here too. So that airspace is what produces that lower tone. The more liquid you pour out, the more airspace there is in it, and the lower the tone it produces, until eventually we're completely out of liquid and we have what many of you may call an empty glass. Maybe you would have called it that before you watched this video, but anyway, we have a full glass of air, and it produces that low tone. And it really reminds me of some TV commercials of some very intelligent advertising companies who use this medium. And you see two alcoholic beverage bottles sitting on the beach there, and I love these commercials, by the way, although when you learn how to see the truth in things, you can kind of look a little further. The wind is blowing, and you see those two empty alcoholic beverage bottles sitting on the beach, and there's no people. You're wondering where the people are at. The idea that the media advertising company is conveying is that these people have drank these alcoholic beverages, and that they're off enjoying themselves right now, when in truth they're probably in downtown Miami traffic wandering around, wondering where they're at because they might have drank a little too much. I'm not putting the company down. I like these guys, don't get me wrong. I'm not also promoting it and telling you that you should be drinking alcoholic beverages, but I'm telling you that in the advertising world, a lot of ideas that we're familiar with, asserting familiarity, like blowing in a drink bottle, is kind of fun. It's a childish thing to do, and it brings out the inner child in many of us and suggests that if we had 2 empty alcoholic beverage bottles sitting on the beach, we must be having a good time somewhere, probably handcuffed or whatever, but we're having a good time nonetheless. And so that's an idea. So when you look at things in the future, you might start seeing them for what they really are and seeing the truth in advertising. But with that aside, when you have a Native American flute, you blow in the flute, the size of the inside diameter of the flute and the distance between this first hole and that sound hole is what produces that tone. If I cut it off with a saw right there, for the most part, it'll make pretty much the same sound. If you cover this hole up, now you've lengthened the flute by this much. If I took a saw and cut it off right there, it would, hey, that's a different tone. And if I cover this hole up, now the air has to travel even further. The vibrations and air and sound waves travel a little further until eventually the air pressure escapes out of this hole right here. And the amount of air that escapes out of it, as well as the distance from here to there, determines what the tone is. And so instead of, it now goes, that's a lower sound. So the vibrations are now going all the way down here and they're escaping out of that hole. What I'm doing is I'm increasing the amount of airspace in the flute. So the further the air and vibrations have to travel as they're wiggling their way down through the flute and escape out of the next hole, when I cover all the holes on this flute, the vibrations travel down and they escape out of the bottom. And that makes the lowest note that this flute is able to produce without doing something physical to it to make it, you know, like lengthening it, for example. So, those are your notes. That's the scale on a Native American flute. I've got videos elsewise teaching you how to play blues scale or the major scale or the chromatic scale. That's all extras. You don't have to learn those. The easiest instrument in the entire world here before you only requires that you know how to blow in a drink bottle. And even at that level, you don't have to pucker your mouth to do it. You can just kind of, you can just put your mouth on the flute and blow, because the mechanics of the ancient ones who have designed this said, hey, look, let's make this easy enough for everybody to play. Put this little piece on the top, and all you have to do is learn where to put your fingers and how to put them there. You can't do this and make it play, you know, I'm not going to do it. I just can't do it. I can't bring myself to do it. Oh, I'm going to do it. And I hear people doing that when they first pick up a flute. And then I tell them about the drink bottle and teach them a little something about the truth that they may have never known. And I show them how you can apply that to other facets of life, including this wonderful instrument, and how you blow air through there, it travels down, escapes out of this hole. You cover that hole up, it escapes out of this hole. And you cover that hole up, it escapes out of this one. The further the air has to travel, the larger the airspace, the lower the note. So, and it works in reverse too. So if you make the airspace shorter, it makes a higher tone. I originally was a trombone player, I'll admit, and that's how we make music. Is the longer the tube, the lower the note. So, any which way, I hope you guys have found some use in this video. You know, I've been making flutes for a while, for quite part of most of my life, I guess, at this point. And I come from people who were farmers, although my granddad taught me how to make a neat little flute. I've got a video for that y'all should look up if you haven't seen it. So once again, y'all take care. This is Charlie Mato-Toyela signing out for Blue Bear Flutes and bluebearflutes.com. We hope to see you again very soon.